Hello again, YouTube. As promised, we're out here in beautiful Florida, Panhandle, playing around with my new rifle here. So we'll see how she shoots. I'll kind of show you guys how the mildot scope works. It's kind of new to me too, but hopefully some of you guys who are thinking about getting a mildot but are unsure of how it works can kind of wrap your head around some of the concepts. But alright, so far I have it zeroed for 100 yards right now, and I have this target. You'd not be able to see it likely, but this road pretty much extends to infinity. And it's way out there. I have no idea how far it is, but that's okay because we have our mildot scope and we'll figure out how far it is. There's 4 pieces of paper on it, so we'll use 8.5 by 11 as our size, and we'll see what the scope tells us. So let me just check you out here real quick. Alright. I don't know how well this is going to work, but I'm going to try to show you down the scope here, kind of what I'm looking at. You can kind of see. Okay, you see the... Alright, so there's the target. It's got the 4 pieces of paper on it in the corners, right? And I have my scope set to the power that that the mil dots are calculated to. Let's see if I can adjust this just a skosh. Alright, so I'm going to tip it down a little bit. We're going to see how many mils that sheet of paper takes up. Start with the edge of the corner of that top left piece of paper in the center of the scope, and it looks to me about 0.7 mil. That first dot is 1 mil, so going down it's about 7/10 of the way there. Okay, so you just got to make sure your scope is on the power that it's on. My scope's calibrated for 14 power, and that's what it's set to. So, all right, so there's the target. We've counted down 7 or 0.7 mils. I got this little nifty program on my Droid here. Droid really does, actually. Unlock it here. All right, so you can kind of see there's too much glare, but top box says target height in inches, and I have 11 in there right now, so because that's the edge of the piece of paper is 11 inches. For the mil dots, we said was 0.7, right? So we're going to go 0.7, compute, and it says 436.39 yards. Well, that's all fine and dandy, so now we know how far away the target is. Now let's go back. I have another little software on here called Shooter. The first program is just called mildot. And I programmed Shooter already with a number of different bullets I plan on shooting. I've got gold medal match, Palma match, 155 grain, and long range, 178 grain. It asks for the muzzle velocity and ballistic coefficient of all these different things. So the first round downrange, going to be gold medal match. So we said the distance was 436 yards. So we put 436 in the distance box. I'm pretty much shooting flat, so we don't have to touch with the angle. We'll just leave that as 0. Altitude here in Florida, 200 feet. Sea level. Temperature today, it's about 58 degrees. Again, this doesn't have to be exact. You're just trying to get in the ballpark. Relative to humidity, we'll say is 65%. Pressure in inches of mercury. I flew this morning, so my altimeter setting was 30.20. It's kind of a handy piece of information to have, I guess. Not everyone's privy to. Wind speed, we got a slight left to right wind. We're going to call it at 5 miles per hour. And wind angle, we'll just call it 90 degrees off to the side, and that'll give me a wind angle. So then we're going to go trajectory table, and voila. We have, you can't really see it, I know this camera sucks, but I've got every single yardage all the way up to 440. So it starts with 440, and 6 says 9.86 minutes of elevation change, and it's going to be 2 minutes of wind. Okay, and then it also gives you a bunch of extra information, like how many inches that actually is in drop, how fast it's going based on the muzzle velocity that you gave it, and the ballistic coefficient, as well as the energy downrange, and actually gives you time of flight. We're calculating 0.61 seconds from here, from muzzle to target. So I have actually no way in hell to measure that, but I'm going to dial in 0.98 or 9.86. We're going to be 10 minutes up elevation. We're going to dial in 2 minutes of left windage, and I'm going to shoot that exact setting, and I'm going to use this exact software for the other 3 pieces of ammunition I have, and I'm only going to shoot 5 rounds based on the exact setting that the calculator gives me, and then we'll go down range and we'll look at the target. All right? I'm not gonna like zero it or anything. We're just gonna see how close we get. All right? Stay tuned. All right. Well, here are the results of that shooting example. This top one right here is the 168 grain Sierra Match Kings, the gold medal match. There was 5 shots, but the first 2 I could tell I put in way too much windage. I have like less than a 5-mile-an-hour wind, I guess, and I must have doped it wrong because the first 2 went over here, and so I pulled out the windage. The rest of them were on this were on the target. Moving down, 155 grain Palma match. You're like, well, that's a lot more than 5 shots. Well, it is, because 178 grainers, I left the windage in for this one as well. They drifted. I had that left windage dialed in, 2 minutes of windage. It's about, see, that's 6 inches, so yeah, right around 8 inches. So 2 minutes at 400 yards would be 8 inches. Those drifted over here, so then I pulled out the windage for the 155 grain. So, what did we learn? Know your wind, dope it better. Not the greatest groups, but I was shooting kind of quick just to kind of get out here. This is like ridiculously far walk. A little black dot out there is my truck, so. But how did I know that it was drifting? Because I was getting kind of frustrated. I couldn't see the holes through the scope anymore. So I put a 178 grain, which is the one that missed, to the left. And this log was at the exact same range. I was aiming right in the middle of this log, and we look over here and we see a little impact hole and a little crater behind it, which is a little carved out, and you can kind of see where the bullet skimmed along that line right there. So it was about 8 inches off to the left. So try to dope the windage a little better next time, but elevation, as you can see, is right on. So you can take an unknown distance target clearly and get on the paper, which, you know, if you have a rifle zeroed for 100 yards and you're shooting at a deer, an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper is easily the size of the kill zone. So if you can range the target, dial in the appropriate elevation, and in this case windage as well, you'll be able to get pretty reasonably confident in taking targets out to 400 yards. So, and then I didn't even shoot this target yet. So there you go. That's how the scope works in the rifle. Just need to fine tune my windage doping abilities, I guess, but not too bad for 400 yards for, you know, on target at least. So hope you learned something from it. Thanks.